Evelyn to Phil, June 20th, 1941, 4:45 p.m. Dearest Phil, everything happens to me. Yesterday after work, I boarded the L for home. I was very anxious to get home early, eat supper, and get dressed and be at my mom's at about 8. As the L pulled into 46th Street and the doors opened to allow the passengers to disembark, a tall, husky fellow snatched a woman's handbag, jumped over the gates between the cashier's stand, and ran for dear life. The crowd, although shocked with the daring and speediness of an act such as this in broad daylight, was in the view of at least 300 or more persons, wasted no time in giving chase, while yelling at the top of their lungs, "Get that man, he snatched a purse. Don't let him escape." Rather than join the groups that fled to the scene, I found a seat which wasn't very difficult to find and placed myself on it, as I wasn't feeling too good or anxious enough to see what ensued. I still don't know. All I know is that the train was held up for 15 or 20 minutes, and I arrived home at 5:45. Jack and I wasted no time in getting started. By 7:20 we were on our way. We took the subway going north, Jakey getting off at Hunting Park. He changed to the bus to get to Yvette's house, and I rode on to the Logan station. I saw Helen first. She caught me as I passed down 8th Street. I spoke to her for almost a half hour, and she had very little to say for herself. When I finally reached my mother's place, Jakey was already there. He had a silly quarrel with Yvette. He says she is very childish. He doesn't like her quite as much as he used to. That is previous to her childish displays and inconsideration insofar as money is concerned. We sat and talked with my mother about various subjects. Page 2. I called Myra and Dora while there and learned that they are driving down to Baltimore Sunday morning at 6 a.m. 5 of the family are going, and they are not certain whether they can take me. If her father agrees to drive with 3 in the front seat, I may stand a good chance. I am going to come if they can arrange it. I have no way of letting you know definitely. I won't know myself until Saturday night. The question is, will you be at Fort Meade? And if so, where do I find you? In all probability, this letter will reach you sometime on Saturday, which isn't so good. The only suggestion I can make is for you to call, either at my mother's house or Wyman's, and leave the necessary information. Regardless of your call, I can give you no guarantee that I will come. If I'm not there by noon or about 2 o'clock, you'll know that I couldn't make it. I would love to take the train if they can't take me, but financially that is impossible. I'll have a few dollars, but if I go down by train, I'll go into debt but good. It is better for me to wait and save what I can these next 2 weekends so that the 4th of July will be a bright occasion in all respects, even financially. I typed the first part of this letter at the close of a hectic day. I was left alone for 15 minutes, and hectic is putting it mildly. I was mobbed with work, and the day itself was very close, hot and sticky. I called my mother, and we had a very personal. Page 3, conversation. All of a sudden, before I could realize what had happened, she was crying. For some funny reason, I felt closer to her than I have ever felt. She couldn't explain her actions. We're so alike in that respect, and many others, that I have never realized before. Incidentally, she gave me the gold wristwatch, which I am now wearing, but I'm off the subject again. I just had a brainstorm. If Sam is able to come in this weekend, give him a note or a message from me and see to it that I get it before 7 o'clock. If you do this, you will save yourself the trouble and expense of calling me. I'm supposed to call Myra Saturday night before 7:15. If she says it's okay for me to go along, I'll sleep at my mother's place. Page 4, Saturday night. I think I've given you some pretty good suggestions, so take your pick, big boy. Jakey is going over to the club and has promised to mail this letter, so it will be in the mail early. I take this opportunity to say that I love you, Phil, more and more each day. You're so dear to me. I'm sure the family is just as certain of that feeling, like me. Here's a precious moment for my precious soldier, from his loving wife, Ev. P.S. I realized I could not hear from you today, but certainly hope that there is a letter forthcoming shortly. Again, let me say I love you, sweet, for good measure. Phil to Evelyn, Friday, June 20th. Well, well. My dear, today I'm offering congratulations to myself on the occasion of my 3rd monthly anniversary of being married to the sweetest little wife in the world. A kiss for you, sweet. Accept my grateful thanks for being the perfect wife and grand person you are. I'll never stop trying to be worthy of you. Today was a combination of good and bad. The bad came first when we were told that we were to march out to the combat range this morning. Having had the experience of marching to and from the range only yesterday, we knew what to expect. You could have heard the moan that went up a mile away. The distance is 7 miles, one way, of the roughest, sandiest, hilliest ground that has ever been my misfortune to encounter. Some of the boys just couldn't make it and dropped out along the way. The sun was blazing all day, and believe me, it was plenty hot. There wasn't a suggestion of a breeze, and it was stifling even in the shade. My squad, fortunately, was one of the first to fire, and incidentally got the highest score. The targets were 450 yards away, so you might take some pride, dear, in the fact that your husband did some pretty fancy shooting. By 10:30, I was finished shooting and parked myself as comfortably as I could under the circumstances in the shade of a pine tree. The temperature in the shade was in the 90s, but I was so knocked out by the hike that I dozed almost immediately. At 11:30, I was awakened by mess call. By 12:30, I was again ensconced in the shade. My bunkmate, Jack Weiland, lay down beside me, and we chewed the fat until 3 in the afternoon. Page 4. When we were called to fall in, we walked about 2 miles and waited for trucks to pick us up. In the meantime, some of the fellows climbed a cherry tree and threw down the fruit-laden branches to the eager arms below. The trucks arrived in an hour and took us back to barracks. Altogether, except for the marching, it wasn't a bad day. Right now, the barracks is humming with activity. The fellows are cleaning up for tomorrow's inspection. I still have a million things to do, but I couldn't begin to work until I had written to you, sweet. Monday, 3 a.m., we leave for 2 weeks' maneuvers in Caroline County, Virginia. When I get back, I'll be a real soldier, if that's any compensation. We're all praying that we'll get passes over the 4th, so keep your fingers crossed, baby. Still have plenty of soda and 90 cents in change, in spite of the fact that Sam's giving me anything I need in the canteen gratis. However, I wouldn't advise you to forward any money, as I don't know just how I'll get it. If I do need some extra change, I can get it without any trouble at all, so don't you worry your little head. Whether or not I'll be able to write or receive mail is a matter for conjecture, but please, baby, keep writing. I'll get it eventually. Tell Mom not to worry, as I'm feeling very fit and feel equal to anything. My cold disappeared 2 or 3 days ago, and everything generally is hunky-dory. This may be my last communication until I get back, baby. So remember that I love you dearly, and above all, keep your chin up. Give my love to Mom, and try your best to keep things moving. My best to everyone. Yours now and always, Phil.